And here we are. It's Sunday, which means it's time for another Stashcast. And we're traveling in time. So that was like a running joke a couple of weeks ago where I was traveling in time because I pre-recorded a bunch of videos. So just an FYI, to be transparent, if I look exactly the same, I'm dressed the same, and like my face hasn't changed and my hair hasn't changed, that's because I recorded all the videos at the same time. Mostly it's a work harder, not smarter thing, and it doesn't stress me out, and it like gives my brain a breather, as well as the fact that some things I can pre-record and some things I can't. Like the project time does not get pre-recorded. Neither does, well, the studio share could, but like for the most part, at least half of what I do, I have to do it that day because it's time sensitive and it depends on. So there we go. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Aradia Naraya, your resident witch and creatrix over at Aradia's Hand and Danae's Divine, where I create myth, magic, and meaning for your everyday life through art, intuition, and energy work. And on Sundays, we like to talk about stash. So that's our Stashcast. Well, stash is basically any kind of materials that an artist uses and collects. So this could be paint, beads, buttons, yarn, fabric, thread, you name it. If it is used in art, then it can count. Now, my definition of stash also includes the tools that I have, because I generally have many of a given tool. I have a penchant for collecting handmade tools, and just I like having options. You know, I want it in this color, I want the full set. Oh, I like this one and I like this one too. So there you go. All of a sudden, bam, you've got a whole lot of tools. So fun. But let's see. Looking at my notes. It's super fun to try and read my notes when they're like several feet away from me and I'm nearsighted. It's great. But I can't put my glasses on because then you have the glare. So it's just I can't win for trying. But we're gonna talk about today are knitting looms. Okay, so I'll have you know that I went, don't mind that, I went digging through all of my stuff to find all of my looms because, and not only to find my looms, but to find samples so that you could see what I'm talking about and it would make more sense. That being said, it involved I lost some stuff. I didn't know where I put it, so that was like a whole thing. That was just weird. So let's see. Knitting looms, of course, are used to knit. The good thing about knitting looms is if you're a new knitter, if you are not confident in your ability to maintain your gauge, if you're, the whole concept of knitting needles like freaks you out or you're just not ready, you can knit with a loom that will keep the tension consistent because all of the pegs are in the same place and they don't move. The downside is that you are limited to the size of the loom. So, let's see. Okay. This, for example, right? This is how big the working area is, which means that's how big this is going to be. And that's it. You can't make it any bigger. You really wouldn't make it any smaller either. You can certainly change the gauge, so you could wrap every other peg, or something like that. But that aside, like that's the most you're gonna do. Now, the good thing again is like they're usually really portable. I've seen a couple of looms where they're really large. There's one, called the Serenity loom. It's really huge. That one is kind of a nightmare. I've heard some really awful stuff about it because of how it's shaped. It's difficult to work around certain areas. So I don't have any experience with that one. But like these are round looms. I think these are they might be boy, B-O-Y-E. Regardless, I'm going to link it below. I'll figure it out what it is. Don't worry about it. But, so that's the other thing. I think the only other downside I would say is if you pull on these pegs, you can snap them. And so that's like a giant pain in the butt. And they don't really... I haven't come across any spare pegs, like replacement pegs. So you have to be careful. And then, of course, you use a special tool that lets you like a little L-shaped thing. Lets you, blah, blah, blah. Brain just stopped. Lets you move the yarn. And now, another thing I'll say is there are a lot of people who focus on loom knitting and making patterns that you would normally use needles to make. And so don't think that, like, you know, loom knitting has to be all stockinette and has to be boring. It's not really a thing. Totally can be more than that. So, yeah, that's it. I would say they're a good start. Now, I don't love knitting looms myself because I've learned to knit with needles and I don't have any problem knitting with needles. So I actually very rarely use my looms. There's some of them I use a lot more than others because I like them. But in general, like these, I've not used too terribly often. I've got like a handful of things and that's it. So, the biggest thing I've made is a cowl. It's this cowl. I want to say, okay, so I'm going to get this one out. I didn't use this one for it because this looks like this doesn't look like this is right. I'm not sure. I feel like I didn't, but I don't remember. It's been so long, but there you go. So, it's a nice little cowl. I used we were talking about marling the other day, and this is marled. So it's you see how the some of the red is predominant in some places and the brown is predominant in other places. So that's fun. This is kind of like I think it's a little closer to gator because it's relatively small. And so this would be good if you like kind of like a turtleneck feel. And then I made it extra long. So that would be the I guess another thing to say about the looms is you can make stuff as long as you want. You just can't make it any wider than the working area. So if you can deal with that, then there you go. I think I said I was going to do something with this. And I don't remember what it was. So this is also, not that you can't see it because it's easier to see in person, but this is a waffle stitch. So it is ribbed 2x2 with pockets or squares of knit 2 and squares of purl 2, alternating with the gosh, my brain just stopped. With the knit 2 stripes, the vertical stripes. So that was really fun. I don't know why I chose. I think I was just dicking around really when it came to this. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, super whoa. Oh, sorry about that. Boop. Oh my god. Oh, stop touching it. Mess with it. That's what happens when I move in front of my tripod. And then I got to deal with. So this is the kind of thing that you would make on the circular loom. And let's see. I'm trying to think of where I can put this as safe. No. That'll do. Okay, so we'll tour around with them. Got this one. And this one. I think I might have used for that. I think I might have used this one, to be honest with you. I couldn't say though off the top of my head. And then of course, this giant bad boy. Yeah. I guess the only other complaint I have, other than the limit in the size, is because a lot of, not all looms, but because these particular ones are made of plastic, you do have to be careful with them. They tend to break relatively easily, and so that can be like a real pain in the butt. And you may not be able to replace, so like this loom may not be sold separately. So if you want this loom again, if you've broken it, you might have to buy set. I don't know if they offer like replacements of that. Like some companies are really good about it, and some are like, yeah, we don't do that. Or they would just send you the whole a whole new set. I don't know. Tried really hard not to break one, so it's not been an issue. Also, let's see. Got another one. I'm not super sure these are all by the same people. I think they probably are because all the pegs are shaped exactly the same way, and some of the different retailers or manufacturers shaped the pegs are shaped a little different. So this is a rectangular one. This was obviously bought by itself. I don't think I've used this one at all. But yeah, so you could also, I think you can double knit with this one so that you would make a 2-layered fabric, and that is, you wrap the pegs a certain way to do that. So like I said, there's a lot of options about what you can do. There's a lot of people who focus on using those looms specifically. So there's that. Yeah, I don't think I have anything from that. Then I got this. Oh, this one. This one's cute. I absolutely have not used this one. I'm pretty sure it's called the flower loom. It looks like a flower. I like it because there's a larger side and there's a smaller side. And this is basically going to make something that looks a lot like an I-cord. So it's going to look like a tube. Obviously, the tube is going to be either that big or that big. Again, I like this is small. It's really cute. It's precious. I'm gonna have to use this soon. It's been a while. I'm like out of practice for loom knitting because it's been so long. Where's the other one? Haha. Oh my gosh. I got like all the tables nearby so I could so I could have everything like and not reach across everywhere. So this might be the one that I've used the most and my favorite one of all the looms that I have. Well, okay, this is the second favorite one, really. The French knitter. So this is very similar to this. The difference is, this has 3 interchangeable heads. It's got 4, 5, and 6, which this is a 5, and this is 8. So you can use this on, it'd be a little more likely that you would use it on thread or wire or something very fine and very small. And I've got some sample work. I really like this one. It was really cute. It was like kind of an impulse purchase. Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah, I actually started some pieces and then wanted to rework them. So, these are not finished pieces. But this is an example of using beads that are not uniform. And so it gives a very specific look. Now, I will say is one of the things you need to understand is when you do it with beading, because this is a hollow tube, the beads like to kind of hang out inside, so you had to push them out. But I really like this one. Yeah, I think we're calling this one driftwood. This might end up like not making it into the store. I gotta be honest with you. It might end up like staying on. And then this one. This one I actually have to redo entirely. I'm not sure what happened. I did something to it, but this is a bit longer, so you can see I've got smaller beads here. This one is gonna chain on the back. I like this one. I think I call this one Hamadryad. It might have been Dryad. It's Hamadryad. Okay, sorry. We have make sure the chains are with it. Okay, so there's that. I really like those. I like how small and compact that is. I like that it has interchangeable heads. Again, because it's plastic, you do need to be kind of careful with it, that you don't like snap anything. Finally, and this is my favorite So here is the thing. This is called a lucet. And the use of it is called lucet weaving. Now, I am going to share some weaving looms later in a couple of weeks. But this produces something that's basically a 2-stitch I-cord. That looks like a kind of a boxy looking braid. Because it's basically an I-cord, it's more akin to knitting. When people think of weaving, a lot of times they think of like flat, plain weave or twill, like tartans and like woven fabrics and stuff like that. This does not create this. This creates a cord. Now, there is I do have another type of cord making that is more like, braiding, which is, I feel that braiding is a lot more similar to weaving. So we're sharing that one in a couple weeks versus with this. But this is one of my favorites. I got this from Stephen Willett. It's his design, but I was at a fiber festival and somebody was distributing them. So that's how I got this. I love this. This has no handle. I like that you can fit it in your pocket. And like, I'm good enough with this that I can like mindlessly make cord without, too much concentration. So that's all it does, is it makes cord. That's it. I like it though. It's fun. I use it for making my novelty yarns where I work things together. So that's my favorite use, but I also use it to do stuff like this, where we've got this. So this is, let's see, how many? This is just 3 strands worked together. Okay, yeah, this is just 3 strands worked together, and this is how thick you see it is. And this is usually what I do with it. I just make really long cords. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I might turn it into a fashion cowl. That's what I do with a lot of these, which it works. So that is that's a multi-stranded one. This is a different kind of multi-strand. This is lucet weaving with a gimp, and the gimp is this gray that's woven in and out. So that cord was a very loose tensioned weave. This is a lot tighter. And so you can get a lot of variation doing like that. You can get a lot of variation. You can add beads to this. You can do with or without a gimp. You can do solid colors or multiple colors. You could do variegated color would also yield something really pretty, because the cord would slowly shift from one color to another. I like to use this when I have odd lengths of yarn that aren't really suitable for like anything else, because then, and I just like making those like a lot. So that's it. Totally is it. So I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any knitting looms or lucets or a French knitter in your stash? If you do, what have you done with it? How do you like it? Do you have different brands? Is there something that you've been dying to try and this is now giving you ideas? If you'd like to see pictures of all the tools that I've mentioned here, as well as samples of the work, then you can scroll into the post below. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that link at the top and it'll send you over to Patreon where you can see it, see all the pictures. Now, because, let's see, oh my gosh. As always, I'm going to link as many of these tools as I can find. Let's see. Pretty sure I am going to link the circular loom set, the individual one, the flower, the French knitter, and the lucet. Steven's got some different lucet styles. He's got one with a flat handle, one with a turned handle, and then ones without a handle. I'm going to link basically to that basic section of the store. I do not know what's going to be in stock because he's a hand maker. So things usually are made in smaller or limited quantities, as opposed to a manufacturer, you know, a larger, that will make a ton of these. So there's that. Yeah, I think it's everything. All right. You can find my websites, Aradia's Hand and Danae's Divine, linked below, as well as my active social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where I like to hang out the most. And because you stayed to the end of the video, you get a sneak peek of what we're talking about tomorrow. So, tomorrow is Monday Motivation. Hopefully I'm going to be motivated and I'll have something to share, but I'm also going to set forth some intentions of what I'll be focusing on the week, so we can check in on Wednesday and see how I did on Friday. As always, thank you for liking and subscribing if you're watching this on YouTube. And for all of my Patreon folks, I appreciate you. Thank you for showing your support and making content like this possible. And if you're over watching this on YouTube and you're not a patron yet, consider coming over and joining us. There are a bunch of extra things that I don't offer anywhere else, newsletter, in my store, anywhere. So there's definitely a lot of perks. And then, of course, all of these videos. And you, I would say I'm a little more high touch there. So there's that. There's that. All right, this video is like way longer than I thought it was gonna be. I'm not prepared for this. Yeah, so that's it. But so long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. And I will see you tomorrow, sweetlings. Toodles.